tear down the house, then you put up the rent. You pocket the cash, and you crush all dissent. You pour all the water out on the floor. You suck at the rich, and you prey on the poor.
Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of the Red Diaper Pail. I'm Simone.
And I'm John Paul.
And we're back.
Yeah, somehow. I have started working, which is why we're slurping soup, as we hadn't had time to eat.
Yeah.
It's much worse than I feared it was going to be.
Yeah, working sucks. Unless you know who I am and you know where I work, in which case I love it. So, what is something on the internet that has actually made you feel good this week, John Paul?
Oh, God, are you kidding me?
That's my question. That's my opener.
Something on the internet that's made me feel good.
Or smile.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why don't you go first while I try and think of something?
Okay. I really like Bike Bus. Bike Bus makes me really happy.
What's a Bike Bus?
Oh, I sent you these and I figured you weren't looking at them.
No.
It's when all the kids in the neighborhood bike to school. And there's various bike buses that have like really good Instagram content where like the grown-ups or the teachers or like the orchestrators of the bike bus, and then there's just videos of just happy kids just biking en masse to school. So Bike Bus already makes me cry whenever I see Bike Bus.
No.
But Benson Boone joined Bike Bus.
I didn't know what I was seeing, but I did see this.
And then all the kids yelled the song, and it was so beautiful.
Our children love Benson Boone, which is...
I think all children love Benson Boone.
Oh, is that what it is?
But Bike Bus is just, it's the best. It's the best of us. And Benson Boone was just the icing on the cake. So now you're on the internet all day, every day. You don't have one nice thing.
Look,
nice thing.
The algorithm knows me very well, and it's just doom and gloom 100% of the time. So.
Yeah. Well, that's not good.
No.
I send you feel good stuff.
I know. I feel like probably something felt good this week on the internet, but it would probably take me 2 hours to find what it was.
So homework, I guess, is find an occasional nice thing on the internet.
Yeah. Someone tell my algorithm.
You need to get off. You just need to get off.
No, now I'm doing it as a job. So finding content for the pod. All right.
You're right.
All right. So you're doing horrible headlines.
I have some headlines. I mean, there's, the major headline this week is that Hamas and Israel have reached a ceasefire agreement, and they signed it today.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is good news in some ways, because it should mean that aid's going to get in, and that hopefully fewer people will die.
Yeah. The killing and traumatizing. I mean, I was thinking about what. Can you imagine what the
traumatizing is ongoing.
The whole population is, but yeah, the killing should stop at least for a little bit, which I guess is a victory. But it's hard to, it's one of those situations. I'm in no position to lecture people on this kind of choice, but they basically told them that we are willing to let you live, but you must live on your knees, and that is a very hard pill to swallow. They're going to send Tony Blair in. To re-educate the entire population, so just stop hating Jews.
Except for I read a really interesting analysis of this, hat tip to my father, about how the original plan had different parts, immediate ceasefire, and then the sort of governance by Tony Blair. And I guess what happened is, because Trump is so motivated by the Nobel Peace Prize, there was a deadline on getting this done, because they're announcing that prize tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I guess the Hamas negotiators might have used that to their advantage. They really spent most of their time talking about the first phase, and the other phases are not nearly as detailed. So it's not clear that they've actually ironed out that much, which might not be good for the longevity of the ceasefire. But it does seem like they played his hubris.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard, is they really have played up the, like, if you're nice to him, he'll do whatever you want thing.
Yeah, and he was like, I want this done so I can get my Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And so they really didn't get into a lot of the governance and some of the details that were certainly more problematic about that.
But he has, this is now the second time that he's clearly and publicly applied more pressure than Biden ever did. So,
yeah. And Trump obviously demanded that Hamas unconditionally accept the agreement.
yeah. And they said we are, but we had to figure out some of the details.
Basically.
And they got away with it.
And Hamas was like, we want you to say that Israel has to actually uphold this versus just like one of your guys that works in the administration. So Trump himself said it. I don't know why that matters.
Because now it's a matter of pride of failure. Yeah, it's that you failed. Well, you can't blame someone else. You said you were going to guarantee it. I mean, he'll just say they broke the ceasefire by, I don't know, refusing to give all of the weapons in the way that they're supposed to or something. That's the nightmare here, is that you're asking them to give away all the hostages and all of their weapons. So if Israel just decides that, some 14-year-old kids broke the ceasefire by throwing a rock at them, it's the same thing, but now it's even worse. There's no leverage at all. And I think Hamas understood that this is temporary, a temporary ceasefire, and that to get it, what you have to give up to get it is going to greatly impact the likelihood of it starting again.
Yeah, I think that it's likely that, I don't know that it's in Netanyahu's interest to not break the ceasefire from a political perspective. I do think that it seems like the hostages themselves, I don't know that that's helping Hamas at this point, because it's not like it lessened.
Well, the only thing that it seems to me,
they weren't using the hostages to shield themselves.
No, but their refusal to the Israeli government's refusal to do anything to preserve the lives of the hostages took a significant political toll on the war effort.
Yeah.
More than the killing of the Palestinian kids and blowing up the hospitals. So
it certainly is what
they weren't willing to not do it, but it cost them.
It's certainly what matters. Seemingly, what matters most to the Israeli public opinion is saving the hostages.
That's right.
It does seem like the Blair thing is not going to happen. So it sounds like there was a version presented, then there was a version that's actually been gone with, and they did use the deadline. Some of those details, having not been fully ironed out, won't actually be agreeable to all the parties. So I don't know if we're dealing with a complete agreement here. Israel also said, I don't know if it was after the fact or it was one of the last negotiated points, that they're not releasing Marwan Barghouti, who's the Fatah leader, not a Hamas leader, and is a really big deal political prisoner for Palestine. So it's Palestinians. So it's not like they're not releasing their big political prisoners, which I guess Hamas is just accepting at this point.
Yeah,
but it's a big deal that was not part of the agreement.
Yeah, a couple of things I think to watch. One, we've been told for 2 years that this is happening because Netanyahu's political fortunes rest on continuing the war forever. That as soon as this is over, he's a done political force in Israel. We will see if he goes to jail. He should, that's what we've been promised. That if I'm going to live in this hell timeline, I should at least get to watch someone like Netanyahu get to go to jail. But what do you want to bet that it was not him individually, but that all the people around him and all of his political opponents are just as vile, and actually he's not going to prison? This happened because that's what the political system required.
Shouldn't that mean they all go to prison?
Yeah. So, that would be nice, but... number two, right? A lot of people I think are very cynical because they've seen this before. I agree with you. I think this is going to have legs, but
you mean like that part of this will stick?
I think it will stick.
I think part of it will stick.
I think part of it will stick for. I think we won't see this level of violence for at least a few months, and then another thing to watch is if Trump sees Netanyahu intentionally sabotage the peace effort, either by doing something that is meant to show that Israel's actually in control and not the U.S. government, or just makes Trump look weak, he will react to that. So that'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on.
Yep. All right. How about this headline? ICE is planning to build a 24/7 social media surveillance team to target people for deportation.
Okay.
per Wired, the contractors would operate as intelligence arms of ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations Division. They will receive tips in incoming cases, research individuals online, and package the results in dossiers that could be used by field officers to plan arrests. And I saw like the triaging of it is like they do it within 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day. These are like rapid response, human, 24/7 social media surveillance teams.
Yeah. So they're developing. I don't want to say this is not a problem until it's turned against people who aren't undocumented immigrants. This is horrific on its own, but they're building the infrastructure to be able to do this for political control.
Yeah.
So they're going to, they will have the people trained, they'll have the infrastructure, they'll have the administrative capability to turn this on any group they want, which I guess is increasingly look like anyone that people are like, Antifa is not a group. It's like, that's the fucking point. Is there is, you can call anyone Antifa if you want to. And all these activists are going to say, well, of course I'm against fascism. I am Antifa, right? That's why it's genius. So.
Yeah. So 2 points on this from like the more technical side. This is software and surveillance provided by Palantir.
Okay.
As well as a tool called Graphite, which was developed by an Israeli spyware company.
Oh, nice.
And it can allegedly remotely hack Signal, WhatsApp, and other encrypted messaging services. So
wait, what?
Yeah, I think the major thing here is that they are doing research of like perhaps the content you're posting but what they're mostly are going to be looking at is the people you're connected to and your GPS coordinates. So take social media apps off your phone, or at the very minimum, make sure you don't have locations on.
Because when you're on your posts.
On anything. I mean, you should not have those apps tracking your locations. That is a setting you can adjust, but also the safer thing is to just take the apps off your phone. But this gets into the broader thing about like just the general corporate capture of all media, social media and traditional media. And there's no way to completely avoid this.
No,
There's safety things you can do, but if you can't use any apps, and everyone has a history now. Yeah. Everyone has a 20-year history of everything.
And in a lot of ways too, like the fight back against this stuff, the thing that gives them pause is what is going to be the reaction, right? And in some cases they want a reaction. Most of the time, like how bad are we going to look? How much political capital do we have to spend? And that calculation they're doing all the time. And if people decide to live in absolute isolation from one another, that pushback that they get will be much less, and it will change the calculation they make. I mean, we can look all over the world and see how these messaging apps and social media things, like, do you think that during the Arab Spring they didn't want to arrest and kill every single one of these people? But they were organized and they were using these tools, but the organized pushback that these things facilitated was more important than the risk it took. So that's something people.
I agree. There's a tension here that I'm wildly vacillating between myself, which is like, get away from everything, like go off the grid, take all the apps away, don't say anything in public, towards the other side, which is like, if we're all saying all these things in public all the time, then we're much safer. But there's also a storyline here about like corporate capture of all media, and is part of that like not participating in certain parts of it. It's similar to, though, like it's so ubiquitous, ubiquitous that it's like not participating in like money,
right?
So I don't know that there's an option anymore.
Don't buy a house.
We also made the choice 20 years ago when we all logged into Facebook the first time that like this was going to literally track our every movement. So I mean, maybe we've already decided our fate there.
I don't know. I think I agree with you about you can't, like, I do believe the master's tools won't tear down the master's house thing. But there has to be some alternative. It's not to withdraw to no alternative. You have to build an alternative or use what's there. But it's a little bit of a prisoner's dilemma thing, right? Where if everyone escapes, you'll think you're safer, but actually everyone's much worse off.
Right.
There are a few people, I'm sure, who will hide, and that's fine.
And they will be safe because they hide, but that won't be.
But they'll only be safe hiding if most of everyone else is not hiding.
We'll talk more about media in our full segment.
Why did something big happen with big media companies?
So yeah,
a couple of them.
So I guess we also have the flotilla activists. I believe almost all of them have been released from Israeli detention.
Mm-hmm. Just after a little light torture.
The global Samud flotilla people have been released. They've been a subsequent flotilla that's been captured. Those people are not released yet. But yeah, they were not treated well.
No, they were not. But you got your copycats anyway. They made Greta crawl on the ground, kiss the flag, and there were some reports that they beat her up.
Yeah, so she wouldn't talk about it directly because she did not want to become the main story. I thought
Mad respect.
She's incredible.
22 years old. And people want to say, oh, she's privileged to be able to do this her whole life. It's like, if you had this privilege, you would not be doing anything half as brave as her.
Better than all of us. A couple of Jewish activists, American Jewish activists that were on board. I heard some of their stories. David Adler and this woman who is a folk artist that we like. I didn't realize she was on it until afterwards. Her name is Connie something.
Connie Raitt?
Not Connie Raitt. That would be Bonnie Raitt.
Oh, that'd be Bonnie Raitt.
You mean Connie Raitt?
Connie Raitt? That's Bonnie Raitt's daughter.
No, she's the cover of Bath. I'll come back through and edit the woman's name into it. But
that's cheating. You have to be honest about not knowing her name.
Their reports is that they were singled out as Jews and treated more poorly because they were Jews taking a stand. But grabbing people, zip tying them, not allowing people to have medical assistance, dozens and dozens of people in a small room, lots of humiliation and taunting and just disgusting human behavior, including from Ben-Gvir.
He was personally there?
He was personally there.
Oh, gross.
And he came in and he yelled at them.
He couldn't live with himself. He didn't have a chance to.
Terrorists and scum and made them look at the flag.
So they bound our hands with cable ties in cells without drinking water. We had to drink out of a tap that was producing brown water. There was one toilet between 10 people, not in a good condition as you can imagine. No toilet paper. We're throwing people's medicine in the bin in front of them and laughing in their faces. We told them people are going to die. The individuals pleaded with them. I need my medication for this. It's my human right. Where are our lawyers, etc., etc. They laughed in our faces. The food we were given was infested with insects. Several people saw women have their hijabs ripped off their heads violently. One young woman has a problem where her blood doesn't clot, and she was on her period. They refused her any sanitary towels and any medication to handle her condition. So she almost died, bleeding out in her prison cell.
Okay, my last one is Trump administration officials are seriously discussing invoking the Insurrection Act, which would allow him to deploy military into U.S. cities. Which, first of all, he has already deployed military essentially into U.S. cities, but there's a more official capacity, where he has more power.
I'm interpreting this as like a threat, which is to say that this court could sanctify him. He doesn't need the courts to sanctify him, but he'd rather go that way. So the threat is if you don't want me to go 100%, then facilitate this.
I will invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807. If you try to ban me from sending people into Portland.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Stephen Miller.
Oh, yes.
The creep. Basically let that slip out loud in an interview with CNN this week.
He has absolute power. The word they used is...
Plenary
authority over... And then glitched like a fucking robot.
Yeah, he said it out loud. Like, oh, the president has plenary authority. And then he tried to become very still. But he was still blinking and breathing.
I mean, I think there's a good possibility that he's an alien or a robot. And he just they hit the no stop button on him. And he's just...
So yeah, that's not good. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that is freaking me out watching the video footage of these people in these cities.
Yeah, but people like
disappearing activists off the street.
Sure. But there's legal. They want you to believe that actual power and legal power are the same thing, and they're not. It is one thing to steamroll a court of law. It's another thing to go into a city like Chicago and think that you think if it was this easy to control every person in Chicago, they've been doing it for years. It's not that easy to do it, and it's going to it will cost them enormously to try and do it.
So you're saying that people will not allow this to happen?
You fight and you win or you lose, but the point is there's going to be a fight, and the power will be decided in the fight that happens, not in the legal jockeying. So
I mean, I agree. Okay, well, on that happy note. All right, so you got the artifact this week?
I do have the artifact this week. You teased it at the end of the last episode with Barry Weiss, although I committed our first act of fake news by saying it was CNN. It's not CNN, it's CBS.
However, depending on how the Ellisons are trying to get a deal with whoever has CNN, which is another big company that's within. Anyway, it could also be CNN.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ!
It could be both.
That's obviously okay. So, do you know the background? Should I go over the background of the
CNN
story?
only employs the best, like Van Jones.
Yeah, right. Van Jones with it.
Piece of shit is what you're looking.
What a piece of shit he turned out to be. That's why these guys exist. They exist to have some moral standing with the audience, so that they can sell and launder dead Gazan babies. I guess that's what they exist for. That's their purpose.
So you have your moral standing, and it just gets eaten away and eaten away and eaten away, and then you can get tossed out.
No, you need two. Yeah, well, I mean that does happen, but
I think he might be done.
We'll see.
He apologized.
He apologized for seeming glib about the dead Gazan babies. He didn't apologize for the absolute atrocious logic, which is that
lies that he said about how it was propaganda and fake that you're seeing.
No, he didn't. That's the thing, is he didn't say that they weren't real dead babies. He's just saying that the only reason you care about it is because someone's forcing it into your face. That the responsible thing is to not show people so that we don't divide the country on the issue, which is absolutely
I didn't
that's what
it that way, but fine. I mean, but the good news is that the Ellisons are now in charge of TikTok, and Barry Weiss is now in charge of CBS News.
Yes. Okay. So here's the story. Larry Ellison is a billionaire Oracle founder.
Oracle, yeah.
And he's been a mega donor of Republicans and a backer of Trump.
Big Trump guy.
Yeah. And has been, I guess, a recent story came out that he vetted Marco Rubio's allegiance to Israel before he supported his, I
think he was with his buddy Bill Affan during that vetting process. There's a group apparently that love Barry Weiss.
I mean, just as a side note, these folks rightly interpret that they're going to get more full-throated support for Israel from the right wing. And I guess they either are deluding themselves or they don't care that they're also eventually going to hit an incredible anti-Semitism at some point, very, very soon. Like Nick Fuentes is biting on the heels of all these right-wing influencers, and pretty soon we're just going to have outright anti-Semitism. And I guess maybe they think that they'll chase all the Jewish Americans into Israel, and that'll be a fine trade.
I mean, I think if you are a billionaire enough, you might not be that afraid of right-wing anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I mean, the wealthiest Jews in Europe during the Holocaust got out by trading Jews to get out, and I'm sure they think they can do that again.
And I think a lot of people believe that they will have their private compounds either on Earth or on the moon or wherever, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that there's structural hatred and violence towards groups, because they are okay.
What, as long as Israel is secure?
I guess until we got to move the Israeli colony to the moon.
Mm-hmm. Well, in any case, Larry Ellison's son built a media company called Skydance, which is basically produces movies and other things like that.
It's Skydance?
Skydance.
Huh.
And Skydance purchased Paramount for something like $8 billion.
$8 billion.
$8 billion with a B.
The son must have been very successful with his little company.
It was pretty successful. It helps to have a billionaire debt, but I've looked through those list of movies, and it's a meaningfully important list of movies.
You can have a rich daddy and still be good at your job.
Yeah, I guess so. So
we haven't actually proven that to be the case with David Ellison.
I mean, he just sits at a desk and signs papers. That smart.
Well, this sounds like a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there was someone who did that, and then there's him who's sitting there playing like, okay, if you say so. So a couple of things. Trump sued CBS News for airing a interview with Kamala Harris that he said was edited to make her look good, and they
60 Minutes, right?
Yes, and they
backed down, right?
They paid out the $16 million to settle the case on what most people consider to be an absolutely baseless, frivolous lawsuit.
So strange.
That's one thing. The other thing was not renewing Stephen Colbert's contract,
right.
And those two things, the payout to Trump, which is essentially a bribe, and the Stephen Colbert things were concessions so that Trump would not block the merger because he has the power to keep this purchase from happening if he wants to.
Skydance taking
so
care
personally paid him $16 million out of the Paramount company, plus
so he and his buddy at the FCC would not block the merger between or the buyout between Skydance
and Paramount.
Right. So that has now happened.
That has happened for some time, and David Ellison, Larry Ellison's son, promised the CBS newsroom that he was not there to politicize the newsroom, but they were going to remain an impartial newsroom. And people were stupid enough to believe this, I guess.
Or you didn't have a choice.
I mean, I guess so. But people in the newsroom were screaming about how they were lied to, which is like...
Because now who's in charge of the newsroom?
So who's in charge of the newsroom is Barry Weiss. What do we know about Barry Weiss? She's a deranged Zionist. In fact, I think she's like a proud...
She was called a deranged Zionist by Andrew Sullivan.
He accused her of being a near... He said something like, near fanatic Zionist, and she said, how dare you accuse me of that? There's nothing near about it.
She also is like not equipped or experienced for this job. She's never run a newsroom, let alone a broadcast newsroom.
Yeah.
She left the New York Times because she felt like she was being discriminated against, but she didn't do much there.
Yeah.
After being rejected from The View because she was a guest on The View.
Oh, was she really? I missed this.
A guest host on The View. And so then when The View had an open spot and they're like, we need kind of like a conservative-ish, she was one of the people. And she tested so poorly with the focus groups that not only did they say you cannot be a host on The View, you cannot be a guest host of The View anymore. So then she was like, well, fuck it. I'll just start my own thing.
And they didn't hire her to be on-screen talent at CBS. So anyway.
But that's what she wants. So that's the rumor.
Oh, really? Oh.
The rumor is she would like to be on-screen talent.
Oh, Jesus. All right. So anyway, so she starts the Free Press, which she calls a heterodox online newspaper. And what it is like it's a rag for basically her to share her stupid opinions, but also to employ people who are otherwise unemployable. So this Free Press thing apparently is worth $150 million because that's how much they paid her to buy it out, David Ellison.
Insane.
And then installed her as the editor-in-chief at the... And I think a lot of people are saying she's a conservative. She's actually, what she is she's an anti-woke liberal. And I think people have to get used to the fact that the liberals are going to be anti-woke liberals from now on. She is the new normal of the acceptable right-left paradigm in the United States. She is the left.
I don't know that. I think she's got a bit of a more niche position politically. I don't think she's anti-woke and she's extremely Zionist. And she has some liberal ideas. She has some libertarian ideas. She, I think, has probably made a deal with the Ellisons to be not that critical of Trump. I think that I read something about her, about how she's actually, and this is why she tested so poorly for The View, she's not actually catering to an audience of most people, but she does extremely well with about 200 people. And those 200 people happen to include
David and Larry Ellison.
The richest fucking guys out there, like Bezos and Bill Ackman and the Ellisons. So if you do really well with those guys...
Yeah. But that's the thing is that the chance to reconstruct the Trump opposition as a Barry Weiss led thing. Like that's like she is not a Trump supporter. What she is the most acceptable liberal position that will be in the mainstream. Oh, is she really?
She's married to a woman. I mean, I don't know that. I think that she was also married to a man, so I don't know what she considers herself.
So is
But
Mark Rubin, who we'll be talking about
He
shortly.
is of the LGBTQ community.
There you go. That's what I mean. That's perfect, right?
It is perfect. Again,
But I'll bet she
that's the
insists
word.
that does not define her. That there's nothing about her that you can know about, like who she is as a person based on that. It doesn't affect any of her opinions about anything.
No, only her Zionism does.
Only yeah, right. Okay, so anyway, so this is frightening, and it's frightening for people, I think, for good reason. I'm sitting here trying to figure out who the fuck cares what CBS is reporting. I guess 60 Minutes is really popular amongst what, boomers, and when millennials are visiting their boomers, they have to watch it too.
I mean, we watched 60 Minutes in my family because my grandparents watched it.
Yeah, right.
And my
Exactly.
parents sort of inherited it, but then once my grandparents were gone, I think everyone gave up on 60 Minutes. So I'm not even sure who's watching 60 Minutes.
I mean, if you wanted to brainwash the entire like liberal population of the United States, I don't think
You wouldn't pick
$8 billion to get a hold of CBS doesn't seem to be the way to do it. But anyway, their target is probably like coastal elites who vote, which is not like young millennial activists anyway.
I
But
don't think coastal elites are watching CBS News either. I guess
not.
I mean, I think the bigger corporate capture of media here is the Ellisons and TikTok.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That one's a lot more alarming because I think young people are actually getting their news from TikTok, and I think Van Jones is right in that showing people what's actually going on in Israel radicalized a lot of people against Israel. You know, I kind of expect something else to crop up, but
Well, what's going to crop up is that they are going to make a bid for Warner Brothers to try to get CNN.
yeah,
And that would be quite a consolidation.
there's no version of like normal liberal society where the same person's able to own both Warner Brothers and Paramount. But in Trump's America, it's totally possible.
I
We're
mean,
way past
the assault of like quote unquote freedom of press is like we are like well into phase 10.
Yeah.
That level of corporate consolidation, while absolutely absurd, seems completely realistic.
The good news is I'm sure as soon as Buttigieg is president, he'll break that up. So anyway, my artifact is...
So we talked about this issue without
having an artifact for 25 minutes.
I hope your artifact really adds to the conversation.
Well, it's long.
Oh.
So I thought that we could celebrate Barry Weiss's ascension from the biggest loser of the New York Times newsroom to head of CBS News.
She was a big loser of previous newsrooms. So, I mean, you got to start from the beginning. She's been a loser.
Obviously, she's been, what I mean is as recently as 2020, she was the biggest loser in the New York Times columnist slate. So this is her classic, the Renegades of the Intellectual Dark Web. This is the New York Times.
What year?
2018. And I apologize if you don't know some of these sickos and grotesques, but it's fun because you'll see some names come up that you'll recognize from the media constellation around like the MAGA thing. But these, at this time, they were, I guess, part of the dark web because they were out of mainstream society.
Does she have her own definition of the dark web?
Yeah. It's actually not her definition. This is
using words.
They self-define themselves as the intellectual dark web. All right, ready?
I'm ready.
An alliance of heretics is making an end run around the mainstream conversation. Should we be listening? The answer is no. We should not be listening. Here are some of the things that you will hear when you sit down to dinner with the vanguard of the intellectual dark web.
Oh my God.
There are fundamental biological differences between men and women.
That's something you'd hear? What a vanguard.
Yeah, oh my God. To give them a medal for courage. Even if, let's say I accept that there's fundamental biological differences between men and women. And there's sex and gender are both controversial, probably a spectrum. But let's say on average, we can say that there tends to be a difference biologically between males and females. What difference does that fucking make?
That is the first thing you'll hear when you sit down at this table that you want to be at.
Explain to me so when someone says to you, I'm trans, I understand that I was born in a male body and I'm trans, I actually believe I'm a woman. The response is, but there's fundamental biological differences. What? That's just completely irrelevant. I mean,
all of that, that's just, they're just...
They're what they mean is that that you can't be trans because you're lying to yourself, but that isn't what that sentence means. It's not even...
So
Like that means you just you don't let trans people have surgery? You don't let them into public society? What was the point of that statement?
my experience with the op-ed writers of the New York Times is they write sentences that have very little meaning and are just trigger words and dog whistles.
Oh, you're supposed to
Notion.
you're supposed to
You're supposed to get a feeling about it, and
Right.
the feeling about it is, oh, it's so controversial that people are trying to mix up what a man and a woman is. But if you go to this very intelligent, cutting edge, brave table of men and women, you're going to hear hot takes. Like there's a fundamental biological difference between men and women. And honestly, don't try to dissect the sentences for meaning, because that's the best thing about the New York Times.
Well, the thing is that all of it is innuendo, right? Like it's just plausible deniability, but underneath that is what they actually mean, which is that trans people should not be allowed in public, or that you shouldn't be. Trans people are mentally ill, which is what they're saying now. Is that after the Charlie Kirk thing, they should all
innuendo and notional, like nods to notional thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the next one. Free speech is under siege.
Indeed, it is.
Oh, jeez. Identity politics is a toxic ideology that is tearing American society apart.
Oh.
Tearing American society apart. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
which is, I guess, means that you can get in trouble for saying something racist.
Actually, her saying this in 2018 is...
No, so this is importantly, she's not saying these
just
things.
at the table.
She's reporting what these iconoclasts are saying.
Well, the sad part is that these iconoclasts are now mainstream.
Well, so we're in a dangerous, and this is, I think this is funny because the last sentence of this paragraph is, and we're in a dangerous place if these ideas are considered, quote, dark. Now, who is saying that? Is that in the list of things that these vanguards are saying, or is that her commentary? Is absolutely indecipherable. Which
she was perfect as a columnist.
There you go.
She never left.
All right. So I was meeting with Sam Harris, a neuroscientist. Calling him a neuroscientist is funny. Do you know who Sam Harris is?
Yes.
So for the listeners who don't know, he is one of the four horsemen of the new atheist movement. So, and all of these guys did the same thing where they correctly pointed out some major flaws in religion and religious thinking, and also some of the horrible things that have been done, not just historically, but presently in service to those religious ideologies.
Indeed.
But he did the same thing all of them did, which is decided that they wanted to pick on Islam most of all, which I think revealed the play here a little bit, which was that it wasn't really an attempt at enlightenment. It was the celebration of European enlightenment, of which Christianity threatens the West and Islam threatens the West. The good thing is Western enlightenment, not atheism. So they had a particular bone to pick with Islam. They were very, very easy for them to see how Islam might cause someone to be a suicide bomber, but didn't seem to understand Christianity could whip people into a genocidal fury, which lead to the death of 1 million people in Iraq. To that, they were blind to that.
The way I know Sam Harris is because all the best liberal, dumb, smart guy mansplainers I've worked with in some of my life, mostly in technology positions, always have to tell me how smart Sam Harris is. And I have to ask me if I know about Sam Harris and his takes on things. Also, his take on Israel is absurd, because his take on Israel is that you shouldn't be allowed to have a religious ethno state unless it's Israel, because, well, if anyone should have it, given the threat against Jews, it should be them. Okay. Which is not, I mean, talk about an unacademic position, like an intellectually dishonest position. And Noam Chomsky has accused him of being a hateful Islamophobe, so that's good enough for me.
He also said that after doing an email exchange with him, that he was clearly unprepared and unserious, for them not prepared for the debate. So he just...
Sam was unprepared to talk to Noam Chomsky? Yeah. No shit, Sam.
No shit. I mean, Sam is like a pop intellectual.
He's also gotten himself in trouble for, like, heritability of IQ.
Well, we're going to get into that.
Oh, great.
All right. That's coming. Eric Weinstein,
I don't know who that
a mathematician and managing director at Thiel Capital.
Oh, Thiel.
Peter Thiel.
Theil.
Yeah, who already came up when you mentioned Palantir. Thiel is trying to create I think he's trying to create a panopticon because he believes that he can live forever, but only if he can put the rabble in their place and keep them away from him. He's like he's a robot like Steve Miller, except I don't think he's not actually a robot. He just wishes he was. Like he wakes up and says, "Damn it! I wish I was a synthetic organism so I could live forever."
He's like, yeah,
I'm trapped in this
I
meat
think
body.
he hates humans so much that he really hates that about himself.
Yeah.
So he's cosplaying robot.
He's currently doing a series of lectures on the Antichrist, which leaves everyone leaving the auditorium going, I think Peter Thiel's the Antichrist.
Oh, Thiel's doing a series?
Yes. And
but Weinstein is.
All right, Weinstein is just a, you know,
a
Thielite who has his own stupid. Eric Weinstein invented. I don't want to get too wonky, but he tried to put forward a unified field theory, which is like how all the forces and matter in the universe are connected in physics, and this is an open question in physics. And he did a lecture because he figured it out. And
was he talking about AI when he figured it out?
And apparently he was laughing, and then he wrote a book about it, and it was a laughing stock. They said that serious people had held the theory, and he'd done serious damage to the theory. So I have credibility by writing a book about it.
Oh my gosh, they're just the best and brightest.
Yeah, the best and brightest. All right. A commentator and comedian, Dave Rubin. Do you know who Dave Rubin is?
I don't.
He used to be, so Rubin is famous because he used to be a lib and then realized how crazy the libs are and is now just a right-wing. He's a frequent Turning Points USA speaker. He's been funded by the Kochs, and his current show is on Glenn Beck's network. He has a reasonably large following. Okay. Those three.
Well, specifically,
four.
It seems like he was really affected by the disagreement between Sam Harris and Ben Affleck on Real Time with Bill Maher, and after that, he's like, I can't be a progressive anymore. Apparently, Ben Affleck just didn't do a good enough job with Sam Harris.
Yeah, Ben Affleck says like, you're being an asshole, man. Like Ben Affleck's like, I don't even know if what you're saying is like technically wrong, but like you're being kind of a like. Why be so hateful? Like, why spend so much time looking at every bad thing a Muslim has ever done?
Dave Rubin was like, "That's it. I can't associate.
I can't associate with Ben Affleck, the Antifa warrior." All right, and their spouses in a Los Angeles restaurant.
Oh yeah, so we were in a sentence. Yeah. All these people are at a table.
At a table with very wise, and their poor spouses. are talking about how they turned into heretics. A decade ago, they argued, when Trump was still hosting The Apprentice, none of these observations would have been considered taboo.
That's not true at all.
Today, people like them who dare venture into this There Be Dragons territory on the intellectual map have met with outrage and derision, even, or perhaps especially, from people who pride themselves on openness.
Oh my God, this is so dumb.
And this is rich, right? Because remember, the freedom of speech is under siege. And identity politics is tearing American society apart. Why? Because when these people speak in public, people get mad at them. And you're not allowed to get mad at anyone for what they say, right? Of course, they get mad if you say things, but you're not allowed to get mad at them. Otherwise, you're infringing on their free speech. None of these people have been fined, been arrested. They haven't even been deported. I mean, all the people I just mentioned are either super wealthy or have enormous media followings. But they're being shackled for having their stupid opinions. It's a pattern that's become common in our new area of that which cannot be said, and it is the reason the intellectual dark web, a term coined half-jokingly by Mr. Weinstein, came to exist. What is the IDW, and who is a member of it? It's hard to explain, which is both its beauty and its danger. Most simply, it is a collection of iconoclastic thinkers, academic renegades, and media personalities who are having a rolling conversation on podcasts, YouTube, and Twitter, and in sold-out auditoriums that sound unlike anything else happening, at least publicly, in the culture right now. Feel largely locked out of legacy outlets. Not anymore.
Like CBS News?
Yep, like CBS News. They are rapidly building their own mass media channel. The core members have little in common politically.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. Brett and Eric Weinstein and Miss Haying are Bernie Sanders supporters. Mr. Harris was an outspoken Hillary voter. Ben Shapiro is an anti-Trump conservative. How's that going, Ben?
Oh, these positions are so far apart from one another.
Yeah. But they all share three distinct qualities. First, they're willing to disagree ferociously, but talk civilly about nearly every meaningful subject. religion, abortion, immigration, the nature of consciousness. Can you imagine listening to Ben Shapiro tell you about the nature of consciousness? Second, in an age in which both
Can you
popular...
imagine Ben Shapiro talking civilly?
I mean, this is the thing with Charlie Kirk, too, is like, are you actually stupid enough to believe that speaking hatefully and provocatively on purpose, but doing it calmly, is the same thing as being civil? I mean, Ben Shapiro always goes out of his way to use the wrong pronouns. Always goes out of his way to do that. Whenever he's talking to a trans
can't
person.
watch him because it's like drips with hate.
Yeah. Very calm about it. And then he says, oh, well, I'm a poor little nerd. You can't get mad at me. Or you can't be threatening me.
We can, Ben. We can.
We can't.
We can't get mad at you. All of this is, it's like you can just say...
Because they're just talking, right? So it doesn't matter. Whatever they say is okay because they're just talking.
It's not even that they're saying it kindly or calmly. They could be saying it exactly how they mean it, which is to like be extremely disrespectful and like stoke hatred in people. And we live in a world where you have to listen to people tell you something else is true about that. It's gaslighting and whitewashing.
All right, so that's the first quality: is they disagree ferociously but talk civilly about really important things. Like,
oh my gosh, the self-aggrandizing. Okay.
Second, in an age in which popular feelings about the way things ought to be often override facts about the way things actually are.
Oh yeah, these are the facts people, right?
Right. So this is her editorializing, right? So you can sort of see she's playing her hand a little bit too openly. Each is determined to resist parroting what's politically convenient. Right, which is why they have huge media followings and millions of dollars.
I don't think any of those people have a track record of being accurate or scientific.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Some of them I don't know, but certainly,
I mean,
we just debunked it with Sam Harris in like under a minute.
And third, some have paid for this commitment by being purged from institutions that have become increasingly hostile to unorthodox thought and have found receptive audiences elsewhere. So
wait, pause. I forgot the headline that I was going to do about the Antifa historian professor having his plane tickets removed. But like
that guy's now a member of the intellectual dark web, and they're all very, very worried about his freedom of speech.
Mark Gray is now on the intellectual dark web because he's, his freedom of speech.
Right, and that's what they cared about was protecting people who were doing civil discourse. Right, there was not to advance a political agenda. Just why can't we say these things and have people respect us, regardless of how stupid it is? If you go to a college and you happen upon two professors, all they do is spend the whole time repeating talking points that were handed to them by the deep state, I guess. They don't have a conversation. That doesn't exist.
No, professors can't have conversations. It's Joe Rogan.
They just say what's politically convenient, and they repeat it to each other over and over again. There's never a debate anymore. No one writes any papers. No one's written a book advancing a new idea. It's just repeating things, unless you have these IDW people involved. Right? They're the only ones who want to have a conversation. That hunger has translated into a booming and, in many cases, profitable market. Wait, I thought that they were being extolled from the institutions. They were willing to take it on the chin and be purged.
These people can't get a job, but also are extremely successful.
Yeah. Episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience, which have featured many members of the IDW, can draw nearly as big of an audience as Rachel Maddow. A recent episode featuring Brett Weinstein and Miss Hayer talking about gender, hotness, beauty, and Me Too was viewed on YouTube over 1 million times, even though the conversation lasted for nearly 3 hours.
So this just pisses me off from a technical perspective. 1 million views is like not related to the fact that the YouTube video is 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Those statistics do not relate. In fact, 1 million of those views could have been 10 seconds.
Yeah, I would pay to know what percent of that 1 million views listen for more than 15 minutes of that.
Let's talk about all this. Just a lot of what this article illuminates, aside from the fact that it's very depressing that 7 years later all these people are as popular as are, is how fucking stupid she is. Oh, there's a website. We can't figure out who started the website. I mean, I don't know. Am I a reporter? Oh, there's 1 million views. 3 hours long. Can you believe it? 1 million people have watched this thing for 3 hours. Do you have any idea how anything works?
No, you don't have to.
Do you have any humility? You're writing something for the New York Times. Do you have a friend or an editor who could who could read it and be like, Barry, you sound like an idiot. No? Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, no wonder she felt like she was walking on eggshells. There were editors who had to read this.
Apparently,
I'm surprised that they let her get that one on, because it is such a stupid, like, even though the conversation is 3 hours, like, we're supposed to then leave her believing, wow, they were so listening to the director of Teal Capital talk about gender, hotness, and beauty and Me Too is so interesting that people sat there, listened for 3 hours. Like that happened more than 15 times.
That's so stupid.
Ben Shapiro's podcast, which airs 5 days a week. Do you think that he doesn't have 5 kids? Gets 15 million downloads a month. This is, 7 years ago.
It's 7 years ago.
So he probably gets a lot more now.
Yeah, all these people. I mean, the sad part about the article is all these people are now, like, in the zeitgeist. Well, not all of them.
This one I like. Sam Harris estimates that his Waking Up podcast gets over 1 million listeners an episode. I love it. The citation is Sam Harris is estimating his own podcast. I estimate that we get 2 million listeners an episode, so we're beating him. Dave Rubin's YouTube show has more than 700,000 subscribers. Holy shit.
Wow, that's so exciting for them.
Offline and in the real world, members of the IDW are often found speaking to one another in packed venues around the globe. In July, for example, Jordan Peterson, Douglas Murray, and Mr. Harris will appear together at O2 Arena in London. I love how the evidence that they're speaking to packed venues is that in the future they'll be talking at an arena. But as the members of the intellectual dark web became genuinely popular, they were also coming under more scrutiny. All right, so this is an important part of this, which is she's trying to draw a line, and I think that speaks importantly to what's happening now. Is that it isn't about a conversation; it's about changing the lines of where acceptable opinion rests. None of these people believe you can say whatever you want without criticism. I guarantee you that none of them would believe that you should be allowed to be taken seriously if you're proposing killing all the Jews, right?
Those people?
All of those people would say this is not worthwhile discourse. They may not say you should be I guess protested, but certainly you shouldn't have them on the show and blah 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 blah. The point is to move the line.
Candace Owens' position.
Well, this is what's interesting about what she's going to do now. What she's staking out is that there is the pretend conversation is we should all have free speech. The real conversation is that these people should be the mainstream,
right.
And there are people who are outside of that should not be allowed into it, right? So she's gatekeeping. She just wants to move the gate.
She's identifying with this should be the new mainstream.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the sad part about this article is
that has come to pass, and that's what her job is at CBS she's not a conservative, but her task is to move the liberal gate as far to the right as she is, which is not as far as to the right as Stephen Miller, but it is like shrinking, and that's all these, like Ezra Klein is going to go along with this. He's going to say all the woke stuff. Obviously, they lost the election for 2 reasons: Israel and inflation. That's obviously why, and everyone knows that in Washington. But they can't fix those problems. And I mean the Democrats can't fix those problems because liberalism is incapable of fixing those problems. So instead, they're going to tell you that it's because people were too woke, they lost the middle of the country, and that if we just abandon trans people and black people and immigrants, then we can get back, and abortion, then we can get back into the mainstream. And that's Barry Weiss's political project.
This is a tale as old as time. I mean, there have been people like Barry Weiss and Ezra Klein moving the left to closer and closer to the center every year for the last 6-7 decades. It's nothing new. It just continues to the right.
And then consider this: Larry Ellison probably agrees with people like Ben Shapiro more than he agrees with people like Barry Weiss. But Barry Weiss is the one that's being installed at CBS because it's not about him advancing his own political positions. It's about a controlled opposition, which only operates within the confines that he finds acceptable. So that when he's pushing Stephen Miller and Marco Rubio, the opposition to that is under his control. Yeah. All right, here we go. On April 21st, Kanye West crystallized this problem when he tweeted 7 words that set Twitter on fire.
Oh, what are the 7 words?
I love the way Candace Owens thinks. Candace Owens.
So this is it's before his fall,
This is before his fall.
but it certainly demonstrates how animated he is by anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Candace Owens, the communications director for Turning Point USA, that's the second name check to Turning Point USA for keeping track, is a sharp, young, black conservative, a telegenic speaker with killer instincts who makes videos with titles like How to Escape the Democrat Plantation and The Left Thinks Black People Are Stupid. Dave Rubin's shtick is, I'm a gay guy who escaped the liberal Death Star. Candace Owens is doing the same thing for black folks.
And that title was The Democrats Think Black People Are Stupid. And Sam
The
Harris,
left thinks black people are stupid.
And Sam Harris is the one that got in trouble for the heritability of IQ. So I assume the two of them at this table in the dark web have very civil conversations about this. We'd
love to see them.
There's different scientific approaches to that. That conversation's never happened.
Mr. West's praise for her was sandwiched inside a longer thread that referenced many of the makers of the intellectual dark web, like the tyranny of thought, policing the importance of independent thinking.
They should invite Kanye West to the intellectual dark web.
Like the tyranny of thought policing. What is the tyranny of thought policing? What are they talking about? Was someone arrested that I didn't hear about? What are they talking about?
I don't know if it's clear yet, but I hate New York Times op-eds, and I hate how they write them.
Yeah.
And this is stupidly written even for that. Like, it's clearly within the genre, but it's actually so grating that it's hard to listen to. And I read a lot of Friedman columns.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Because they make me angry.
So people who don't know Candace Owens should probably look her up. But among the crazy things she said was that the only mistake the Nazis made was trying to do stuff outside their own borders. If they just stuck to killing the Jews inside their own borders, they would have been fine.
Quote, I love the way Candace Owens thinks.
Yeah.
Quote.
Yeah, and that's and she means, in addition to the killing of people, also the destruction of unions, the super exploitation of workers, yada yada yada, killing disabled people, killing gay people. I'm sure she's in favor of all those things too. You don't get to force other countries to do that. You have to let the Hitler of that country do it. The other thing that she's famous for right now is she was good friends with Kirk, although they had a bit of a falling out. Because Kirk, Israel, and she's spent the time since his death trying to insinuate or outright say that Israel was the one that killed him because he was turning against Israel.
She is the example of the very, very small sliver who are pro-Palestine because they're so freaking anti-Semitic they cannot exist without basically.
Yeah, that this is a big opportunity for people to hate Jews in general.
Must take full advantage of it by really playing up genocide. And that is 100% what she's doing.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't know why, but my algorithm suddenly is like, you need to see the Candace Owens clips of her really pushing that Charlie Kirk was being heavily pressured to cancel Tucker Carlson for being anti-Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And it made poor Charlie Kirk, who, according to everybody, is such a great guy with great high integrity, very uncomfortable. And then suddenly he was afraid for his life, and then suddenly he was dead.
Yeah. And
according to Candace Owens, the Jews killed him.
Yeah. And she's also saying that there's 3 people who told her off the record that he was afraid for his life, which is not how off the record works. But
for those who haven't yet seen the news, just a few hours ago, the conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was killed when he was speaking at an event at Utah Valley University. Charlie was 31 and the father of 2. Charlie made his name and built a massive political movement by doing something radical. He pitched tents on campuses around the country and welcomed students of all political beliefs to his table, inviting them to debate and disagree. I have seen so many hours of Charlie Kirk doing what he did, and he would truly talk to anyone. In doing this, he swayed minds and changed lives.
She uses a lot of words to describe these people: telegenic speaker, iconoclast, vanguard. All of them are grifters. Every single one of them has found a way to make money by telling an audience what they want to hear. And Candace Owens is one of the best at this.
Yeah. Barry Weiss is about to be the queen of all grifters.
Yes, she is. Okay, so here we go. All of a sudden, it seemed the IDW had broken through the culture-making class.
I can't keep up. We're in, we're out, we're in, we're out.
They're in because Kanye West tweeted about Candace Owens, who's not even one of them. They're in. Now they're in. Yet Mrs. Owens is a passionate Trump supporter who has dismissed racism as a threat to black people while arguing, despite evidence to the contrary, that immigrants steal their jobs. She has also compared Jay-Z and Beyonce to slaves for supporting the Democratic Party. So this is hilarious to me. It's like,
so are we like unsure about those positions on the intellectual dark web?
So that's right. Right. That's too far. That's the point.
Too far.
That's too far for Weiss. So it's not a free. Why isn't Miss Owens allowed to be part of the free speech conversation? If she's civil, can't she just talk about abortion and the nature of consciousness civilly with these people? No, because she's a Trump supporter. Many others in the IDW were made nervous by her sudden ascendance to the limelight, seeing Miss Owens not as a sincere intellectual. So they can't even help themselves. They're going to do the caricature of an elitist liberal, and as a way, and then they're going to skewer all the elitist liberals who won't take them seriously. It's great. This is great.
They're allowed in the intellectual dark web
if you're not a serious intellectual, like Weinstein, as Ben Shapiro, as a provocateur,
as Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. But as a provocateur in the mold of Milo Yiannopoulos.
Milo.
For the IDW to succeed, they argue, it needs
happened to him?
Succeed in what?
Wait,
I would like to know.
Time out. What happened to Milo?
Oh, yeah, he was
a big deal for a while then.
He was hired by Marjorie Taylor Greene, I want to say, to run her campaign, and it was such a disaster. I don't think he's capable of doing anything.
Fair enough.
He also said that it was okay for gay men to rape gay boys.
I remember that. Was that the end, though?
That's probably... And it's hard to find a conservative audience. But those are your opinions, I think.
He worked on Kanye West's 2024 presidential campaign.
Oh, my God.
And he connected West with Nick Fuentes.
Yes.
Wow. So he's around. He's just not as packed.
I mean, Nick Fuentes...
Is he part of the intellectual dark web?
No, he's not.
Too far. It's gone too far.
Milo Yiannopoulos says, I'm going to introduce my two friends, Kanye West and Nick Fuentes. Both of them, if they could get away with it, would kill Milo Yiannopoulos in a second.
Yeah.
What? I don't understand these people at all. I'm only interested in building this intellectual movement, Eric Weinstein said. The IDW has bigger goals than anyone's buzz or celebrity. What goals?
Were they like
what goals?
Were they having like little meetings?
Oh, we're gonna
let's go to dinner. Like pick the nice restaurant in New York we're going to dinner to, and like starting our meeting of the IDW.
Yeah. I said this thing on my podcast. These fucking idiots that listen to me ate it up.
Right. And then they realize they have a runaway train, don't they?
Yeah. You say, that's there's no way to protect yourself from the right flank.
Yeah.
So you say it, I'll say it, and then it'll be like, oh, it's a normal thing to say. And yet when Miss Owens and Charlie Kirk, there he is, third check, executive director of Turning Point USA, met last week with Mr. West at the Southern California Institute of Architecture. Just outside of frame, in fact, avoiding the photographers, was Mr. Weinstein. He attended both that meeting and a one-on-one the next day for several hours at the mogul's request. Mr. Weinstein, who can't name two of Mr. West's songs, said he found the Kardashian spouse, quote, kind and surprisingly humble despite his unpredictable public provocations. I'm sure that's true. Maybe that was before he was on all those benzos or whatever he was taking. No, it was, what was he, nitrous? God.
I don't know what kind of...
He has also tweeted that he's interested to see what Miss Owens says next. The only person on the planet who was interested to see what Miss Owens says next.
No, I wish.
This episode was the clearest example yet of the challenge this group faces. In their eagerness to gain popular traction, are the members of the IDW aligning themselves with people whose views and methods are poisonous?
I'm confused. The IDW, this is actually indecipherable. So the IDW is a group that has ideas, but they're very diverse ideas because they have to have rigorous debate. But it's also a group that we're going to gatekeep. Not Barry Weiss, but they're going to gatekeep. But then they start to...
Which is giving them some friendly advice.
They start to gatekeep.
That's a person who's definitely just observing.
Candace Owens, we might need to gatekeep that. And they're like, no, throw that out the window. We don't need to gatekeep that.
Yeah. So that's what this is like this whole article. She agrees with these people completely. She thinks that they're the smartest people in the room. That it's not fair that people who know more about all these topics than they do are like, why are you talking about this? You don't know what you're talking about. It's not fair that they're not allowed to teach classes at high universities. The point, though, is that she wants to normalize them for a liberal audience who finds people like who would fit very well into this group. I mean, what's the difference between Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro? Is support for Israel. That's it. That's the only difference between them, and all of their opinions are the same. I mean, Candace Owens was the director of comms for Charlie Cook for years. So what tell me exactly how Miss Owens doesn't fit. If Charlie Kirk fits and Ben Shapiro fits, then how does Owens not fit? But the point of this is that these are the normal people, and I know that you hate people like, Milo Yiannopoulos and Candace Owens, liberal reader of the New York Times. So I'm going to tell you why those people are not these people that I'm telling you should be taking seriously. And all under the guise of not advancing their positions, but under the guise of we should be having an expansive conversation. These people have caught fire. People care about what they have to say, not because of people like Larry Ellison, but organically they care about what these people have to say, and you should too, because this is what actually people think. They don't think all that woke crazy stuff. They think this.
Well, I do think the pretty insider baseball conversation about like the political media orbit. I think you're right, but also I don't know how many people know. Like, I wonder how many people know these people.
Most people who read the columns in the New York Times know these people.
In 2017.
She was trying to popularize them. All right, I'm going to skip a little bit here. Before September 2016, Jordan Peterson was an obscure psychology professor at the University of Toronto. Then he spoke out against Canada's Bill C-16, which proposed amending the country's Human Rights Law Act to outlaw discrimination based on gender identity and expression. He resisted on the grounds that the bill risked curtailing free speech by compelling people to use alternative gender pronouns. He made YouTube videos about it. He went on news shows to protest it. He confronted protesters, calling him a bigot, which he clearly isn't. When the university asked him to stop talking about it, including sending 2 warning letters, he refused.
Wow.
While most people in the group faced down comrades on the political left, Ben Shapiro confronted the right. He left his job as editor-at-large of Breitbart News 2 years ago because he believed it had become, under Steve Bannon's leadership, quote, Trump's personal Pravda. Yeah, no kidding.
Well, look at what's happening now.
In short order, he became a primary target of the alt-right, and according to the Anti-Defamation League...
Oh, this doesn't age well. Go on.
The number one target of anti-Semitic tweets during the presidential election. Again, who do you think your fans were, Ben?
The ADL, as a side note, has a fascinating story right now. The same week that it came out that they removed their glossary of hate, they've been trying to clean up, quote, that they care about other types of hatreds. Because for a long time, the ADL, which has been a long time front group for the FBI, has pretended to care about things other than anti-Semitism. And it has, other anti-hate, anti-bias content.
Yeah.
It has been slowly removing a lot of its anti-Islamophobia content and other anti-hate content since October 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, I think it deleted its entire glossary of hate or something, some resource it had, because after Charlie Kirk's murder, they got in trouble, public trouble for identifying some of the things that Charlie Kirk and Turning Points USA has said is hateful. So they're trying to,
which is absolutely, yeah,
trying to remove this stuff from their website, and they exist to make sure that anti-Semitism can be used as a cover for certain political actions by the U.S. government.
Yeah,
and there's a long history of them also targeting leftists and activists. But Kash Patel and the FBI have said we will no longer work with the ADL. There's no room for front groups like that are claiming to be anti-hate groups but are really doing this type of work. Mm-hmm. So this is exactly
you get what you fucking deserve.
How you you're chasing after this right flank,
Mm-hmm.
and you're destroying yourself if there's I mean,
They didn't have credibility to begin
they
with,
never
really,
credibility,
but
but they're not the only group that's doing this. You're destroying yourself to get there, and then you get there and they're like, not good enough.
yeah, you're never going to be good enough. Columbia University, you're never going to be good enough. They hate that you care about ideas. They hate that you read books.
They hate that you
They're
exist.
never going to allow you to be part of this. Okay.
And
that goes, if you're listening to this, you're not going to be able to hide.
right.
Unless you're willing to hold the knife. Right. Along with them, you're going to be their enemy. It's not going to.
NGOs that are like, well, maybe we'll get rid of the DEI, the obvious DEI language. We'll get rid of the hot words, and we'll just continue to, I don't know, do jobs program or vocational training or anything that's good for the world. That means you're not on the right side.
Yeah.
So you can get rid of diversity, equity, inclusion, Black, affirmative action. You can get rid of all those words you want on the website. First of all, they will come after you for having the words 10 years ago. Like, you can't rewrite your history. But the things you're trying to do are not, even if you whitewash them, they're still against them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, so why not have it like...
Yeah. I mean, the next thing they're going to ask you to fire all the people who are Black who work at your agency. You're willing to do that to stay alive?
And then you're going to walk into Handmaid's Tale, and they're going to have you get rid of all the women.
Right.
And like,
they're going to let you, and then...
And they will push you. They will enjoy pushing you bit by bit as far as you will go. So
and they'll take a sadistic pleasure in it.
Entertainment for them.
Yeah.
But have an ounce of integrity or courage and just say what you believe in.
Yeah. I mean, the Anti-Defolition League is particularly galling because they didn't believe in anything. They were cynics the entire time. They weren't.
But
they weren't just desperately trying to stay alive.
Good example, if the FBI will hang them out to dry, then certainly any organization that's like an anti-hate organization who's trying to whitewash what they will and will not talk about. I mean, if the ADL is not far enough right for you, not far enough in the pocket of government and government bureaus, then you do not stand a fucking chance.
But one Jewish group has jumped to Musk's defense. That's the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL. The ADL called it an awkward gesture, not a Nazi salute. This defense of Musk has put the focus on the ADL and raised the question, why is a group that defines itself as the world's leading authority on anti-Semitism defending anyone doing that?
All right, well, we're back. Our daughter decided to wake up in the middle of recording. That was the first time we've been interrupted by our children.
It was actually, we were interrupted by two children.
By two, correct. So we are back to recording. I'm going to skip some of this article because I think we're pretty much ready to get to the end. Skip a few. So she basically talks a little bit more about how much money they're making, despite the fact that they're been unfairly ostracized. Yet there are pitfalls to this audience-supported model. One risk is what Eric Weinstein has called, quote, audience capture. Since stories about left-wing outrage culture, the fact that the University of California, Berkeley had to spend $600,000 on security for Mr. Shapiro's speech there, say, take off with their fans, members of the intellectual dark web may have a hard time resisting the urge to deliver that type of story. This probably helps explain why some people in this group talk constantly about the regressive left, but far less about the threat from the right. What do you think? You think that's why they talk about the regressive left and not the far right?
And if you talk about the cruelty and absurdity of the right, no one downloads your podcast?
No one downloads your... Not these people, because the left is not interested, I guess. I mean, this is silly. The reason they don't talk about that is they don't mind the regressive right. What they care about is the regressive left. Yeah. Quote, there are a few people in this network who have gone without saying anything critical about Trump, a person who has assaulted truth more than anyone in human history, Mr. Harris said. If you care about truth, that is quite strange. It is, Mr. Harris. It is. Emphasis is one problem. Associating with genuinely bad people is another. Oh, is it? Is hiding how bad you are okay as long as you're not associating genuinely? Go a click in one direction, and the group is enhanced by intellectuals with Tony affiliations like Steve Pinker at Harvard.
Oh, great.
Another Epstein buddy, right? But go a click in another, and you'll find alt-right figures like Stephen Molyneux and Milo Yiannopoulos, and conspiracy theorists like Mike Cernovich, the Pizzagate huckster, and Alex Jones, the Sandy Hook shooting denier.
Right.
I like how she admits this. Go a click in another direction. These people are all guests on Rubin's show. You don't have to go any clicks. They're all there. They're part of this big conversation that she's talking about. It's hard to draw boundaries around an amorphous network, especially when each person in it has a different idea of who is beyond the pale. Quote, I don't know that we are in a position to police it, Mr. Rubin said. If this thing becomes something massive, a political or social movement, God forbid that happens. Because, at least we'll have freedom of speech if that happens, but the other consequences might be bad. Then maybe we need to have some statement of principles. Good luck.
I think they forgot to write that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to have a statement of principles when you have none whatsoever. For now, we're just a crew of people trying to have the kind of important conversations that the mainstream won't. That conversation, you notice that
it's so self-deluded. You
notice that the underlying theme of all of this is anti-trans. It all is just anti-trans.
Where did you get that just now?
Just that's what the truth telling underneath all of this. The thing that connects them all is they hate trans people.
Oh.
Jordan Peterson gets famous that way. These academics she talks about, these feminist academics who get kicked out of the academy, that's what they want to write about is transgender people. All of it goes back to that. That's the thing that they actually care about. It's like, Trump is bad, but at least he's not in favor of transgender people being called the pronouns they want. But as a statement of principle is necessary to make a judgment call about people like Mr. Cernovich, Mr. Molyneux, and Mr. Yiannopoulos. Mr. Rubin has hosted all three on his show, and he appeared on a typically unhinged episode of Mr. Jones's radio show InfoWars. Mr. Rogan regularly lets Abby Martin, a former 9/11 truther who is strangely sympathetic to the regimes in Syria and Venezuela, rant on his podcast. He also encouraged Mr. Jones to spout off about the moon landing being fake during Mr. Jones' nearly 4-hour appearance on his show.
I mean, this is written, it's like a labyrinth. I don't know if it's poorly thought out or just deceitful, but like it's every point she almost makes, she's like contradicting later on.
Okay. Blah, 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 blah. What's more, this frog kissing is her term for having people on, like Alex Jones or Mike Cernovich, perfectly plays into the hands of those who want to discredit the individuals in the network. In recent days, for example, Mr. Harris has been labeled by the Southern Poverty Law Center as a bridge to the alt-right. Quote, under the guise of scientific objectivity, Harris has presented deeply flawed data to perpetuate fear of Muslims and to argue that black people are genetically inferior to whites.
That's true.
So this is her...
He has done that, and clearly he is a bridge to the alt-right because look at who he associates with.
Yeah, and look what's happened over the last 8 years. It was absolutely correct.
So she just predicted it would happen this way, and she wanted to begin to make an argument
to whitewash
about how
it
was
yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah. And so
I guess she's very prescient.
It's not. Some of it is she predicted it. Some of it is this article created it. She popularized these people before they were mainstream. So she says of the Southern Poverty Law Center, calling Mr. Harris a bridge to the alt-right, that isn't true. The group excoriated Mr. Harris, a fierce critic of the treatment of women and gays under radical Islam, for saying that, quote, some percentage, however small, unquote, of Muslim immigrants are radicalized. He also estimates that some 20% of Muslims worldwide are Islamists or jihadists. Which one do you think they are actually objecting to? But he has never said that this should make people fear all Muslims. Well, of course, you couldn't say that flawed data is used to perpetuate fear of Muslims in general, but he has also defended the work of the social scientist Charles Murray, who argues that genetic differences may explain differences in average IQ across racial groups, while insisting that this does not make one group inferior to another. Okay, so we're supposed to believe that he is not saying that black people are genetically inferior to whites, but also that black people are genetically have lower IQ than whites. We're supposed to believe those two thoughts are compatible?
Yes.
This is her defense of him. He knows he's saying they're smarter, not better.
But she's not making a defense that actually makes sense. It's just a house of mirrors. It really is. She's just writing one sentence that says one thing and then another sentence that says another thing, and then we're supposed to be like, oh, sounds good.
Jeez. All right, so this is the coup de grace of the whole article. This whole time you're sitting on the edge of your seat. Does she identify herself as among these people, or is she simply reporting to us about them? So here we go. Am I a member of this movement? A few months ago, someone suggested on Twitter that I should join this club I've never heard of. Bullshit. I looked into it. Like many in this group, I am a classical liberal who has run afoul of the left, often for voicing my convictions and sometimes simply by accident. This is when we praise from libertarians and conservatives. And having been attacked by the left, I know I run the risk of focusing inordinately on its excesses and providing succor to some people whom I deeply oppose. I get the appeal of the IDW. I share the belief that our institutional gatekeepers need to crack the gates open much more. I don't, however, want to live in a culture where there are no gatekeepers at all. Given how influential this group is becoming, I can't be alone in hoping the IDW finds a way to eschew the cranks, grifters, and bigots and sticks to the truth-seeking. Some say the IDW is dangerous, Mrs. Haynes said. But the only way you can construe a group of intellectuals talking to each other as dangerous is if you are scared of what they might discover. So are there gates or not? If it's
Right. Well, she's in one of those sentences amongst all the other bullshit. She says that.
Yeah. So, and she wants to close the gates off, which is rational because no one believes in no gates at all. But in the next sentence, it's if you're just talking, everything is okay. I mean, what's to stop the people to her right from using the same argument against her when she puts up gates to keep them out? I mean, doesn't Candace Owens have just as much right to say she's suppressing free speech but not letting me control CBS News?
The reason she's making it about free speech is it's a tactic so that she can focus on that rather than pay attention to what these people actually believe.
Oh, right. Like, there's no examination of like how we're not having a conversation about any of these ideas that they're presenting are stupid or even worthwhile having in the discourse, because the question is whether they have the right to say them or not.
Yeah, it's form over content, which is, yeah.
Like, that's the integral thing here.
Clearly.
That's the substance she just cannot talk about.
She might not even know she is doing it, although I think she is. But the entire article is just a giant distraction from actually talking about what the quality of the ideas. I mean, it's very cute that you're trying to figure out what she means here. But it's all a bunch of, she's full of shit.
Okay.
She wants her gates. She has now gotten her dream job to do that. And most of the sentences she's writing there are to basically lull a lazy reader along to feel like they've understood some basic notion of this stupid group of people.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's trite to even say it, but if she believed in this, CBS News would be featuring what she considers to be the woke left.
Antifa.
The anti-woke left, which I guess is what she considered
herself to be.
Sorry. And people like Ben Shapiro, but no further right than that. That would be the gates that she's taught, right?
Well, I don't know. It sounds like she believes the gates would exclude the woke left.
No, she's saying, I mean, so on the face of it, she's saying that the institutional gatekeepers need to crack open the gates, which means let her in. Let her and some of these people in. She's not saying the institutional gatekeepers need to be overthrown and run out of polite society, although obviously that's what she thinks.
Well, academics are not exactly. What I hear her saying is, yes, she is saying she wants the gates opened and she wants the people like her, and I guess the people to the right of her, to be taken seriously. And
as long as they're serious and not anti-Semitic. You can be as anti-trans as you want as long as you're not anti-Semitic.
Right. I think that it's not that you aren't. It's not that she's wants to exclude Candace Owens because she's too far to the right.
Because she's not serious.
I don't know. She doesn't want any grifters. But I mean, obviously, Charlie Kirk was a fucking grifter.
Yeah. Anyone who's
Ben Shapiro is a grifter.
I mean, there's a quote in here from Jordan Peterson. He says, "I figured out how to monetize social justice warriors." I mean, is that not just admitting to be a grifter?
Right. I mean, I guess we'll have to see how she runs the CBS newsroom And maybe then we'll finally understand this article.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, like, it seems impossible to me that anyone who cares as much about free speech and her only objection is that not everyone's getting a chance to speak would not allow all these woke liberals to have a chance of speaking. I mean, it's impossible that she would do that, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Anyway, see you next week. Bye.
Your powers will fade as you grow old. Your powers will fade as you grow old. You're on the make and you don't do regret. You're always out for what you can get. You think like a snake and you ooze like a snail. Let the trail go cold as you swallow your tail. With your low rent skills and your heart of flint, telling your tales that are unfit to print. You're all weasel words, backed up by the boots, obsessed like the rest, with a promise of loot. Your pies will fade as you grow old. Your pies will fade as you grow old. Your pies will fade as you grow old. Your pies will fade as you grow old.
I am not the robot.
I am not the robot.
Wait. All right, wait. All right, go.
Okay, so